Welcome back to another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C. And today is the first day in like a week that we have a smaller video, smaller set of quotes. So for those of you that enjoy the more 15-minute-ish videos or less, then I think you're going to enjoy this episode as well as the episode that'll air in a few days. So, what I will say is I'm getting towards the end, thankfully, of my first pass, if you will. I've made a ton of passes through the thrill of the chase, but in terms of picking up all of the different themes and possible keywords, possible themes, anything that I think could be an aberration, it has taken me months and months and months, and I am now getting down to the last handful of videos for my first pass. And so what I've done in order to kind of, I don't know what word I want to use. I don't want to say speed up the process because the process is still the same for me, but I think I'm speeding up the process in terms of getting the information out to you and putting it online on YouTube. I'm combining a number of words and a number of themes because they're smaller and they weren't as maybe obvious, or they didn't have as many instances, what have you. And so kind of what you'll see in and out sporadically over the next 2 weeks as we finish up April's videos is and April will kind of wrap up my first pass through the thrill of the chase and the poem, and then as we get into May and June, I'll start that secondary analysis. Hopefully May will be secondary analysis, and hopefully by June I'll have a solve. Right? That's what we're hoping, and. But anyway, so you're going to see it's a little bit discombobulated. It's not as, it's just not as simple as, hey, here's this theme, and you see a handful of instances, and we can talk about it. I'm just mentioning a number of different words, and they kind of pop up here and there, and I just want to mention them just for, just to cover my bases is really what it all boils down to. So let's get started. Page 16. So this is tired, wood, paddle, canyon, all of the above. Those are all words in the poem. Keywords, potentially. And yet there's not a whole lot of mention of them in the thrill of the chase. And so I thought I would kind of take a look and then just combine them all and see where we are in, 10 minutes or so. Page 16, first grade. Forrest says, I remember standing there while he hammered the wooden sign into the ground, Mr. Fenn, principal. And then he goes on to talk about the difference it made in his life, and or the fact that it didn't. And it's just interesting. But that was a mention of wood. It's a wooden sign. And so some have speculated, myself included. I think it would be obvious if there was a wooden sign. But maybe it's not as obvious. Maybe there's a little subtle something. Maybe it's a wooden sign that says "Get Out" in all capital letters and red letters. I don't think that's the case, because I think you sleuths out there in Finlandia would have picked up on that and gotten closer than 200 feet. That's what I think. Page 32. My Spanish Toy Factory. He says, down at the bottom, for those wooden beauties, I could get a quarter. And that meant 2 bags of Fritos, a Coke, and a small ice cream, leaving me a nickel as a head start for the next day. So, I feel like I've already talked about that, but it's there. We're going to move on. We're going to make this one efficient. Page 40. He says, Father liked Skippy best, and I knew when he got a licking, anything could happen after that. So I'd just stand there and wait for my turn at the paddle. So you only mention a paddle in The Thrill of the Chase. And I've posited this previously. However, now is the time to say it again. If you we'll get to the next sentence in a future video in about a week when I start talking about the family members that are mentioned in the Thrill of the Chase, because Mom was always knitting and didn't seem to notice. Okay, what else do we know about Mom staring out a window later on with the ball of string caper? But start of the next paragraph, June never got switched because she probably did everything right. She never got switched. No paddle up your creek. June Creek. Now, I said this in a chat weeks and weeks ago, and I Googled June Creek, and there was a June Creek in Colorado. There's also, somebody said, a June Creek in Wyoming, I believe, if I remember that correctly. I don't know. This is 2,000 miles from where I live, and the likelihood of me going there is about 1% or less. The fact that it's not in New Mexico, and I just, for whatever reason, lean towards it being in New Mexico or southern Colorado around the border, just sort of leaves me kind of like, I'm going to say it for y'all. If it helps your Saul, great. But no paddle up your creek. June was the only one who didn't get paddled. June Creek. Wow. Page 47. Oh, I was looking for the beginning of the sentence. Started with that word, but that's not. Up at the top, that was many years before the streets were paved, so the deep potholes on Canyon Street often were filled with water that was fair game for every car that bounced by. And if you've watched any of the videos that Treasures Galore and I have done, that's his Where Warm Water's Hot, the potholes on Canyon Street. And I do not discount that. I think it's very interesting because it's one of the few mentions of Canyon explicitly in The Thrill of the Chase. So I think that's a very interesting little part of the story. Then we flip over to page 48, and we all know this as well, that he says, each dish and pan had to be washed by hand, dipped in scalding water, and dried. Whew. My hands turned white and had deep canyons in them. It's really interesting. We all look at the brown gravy, and after that, what's really interesting, I never noticed this, is each dish and pan had to be washed by hand, dipped in scalding water, and dried. Where warm waters halt, what is that? Is that just dried? Where the scalding water dries? I've never heard anybody say that. I've also never thought that before. But that's page 48. And I'm going to leave that for y'all to decide. Page 59. So we rented a couple of horses from a friend and started up Red Canyon. And I think Smell the Sunshine said that he did a video where he started in Red Canyon, and it had to have been, it was a little ways away, I think. So it's interesting. I never really got that deep into those pictures and all that, but if it helps your solve, have at it. And best of luck. Good luck to you. Good madams and sirs. 62. Gradually, that little stream got narrower and narrower and deeper until it developed vertical sides that nothing could get through but water. That sounds like a canyon to me. So I wonder if not far but too far to walk is just where a little stream runs into just a little like ravine gully type thing, and that's the canyon. Could be. Nobody knows. Are y'all as excited about this as I am every day? Every day. It's all I can think about. Unless I'm doing something else, and then I don't think about this. All right, page 96. He says down at the bottom, a party at the Officers Club in Stephenville had detained me longer than I wanted. And although I was not a drinker, my body was already tired. You know, it's interesting. He says a party at the Officers Club. And this is just a thought off the top of my head. What about if you were using sort of, I don't even know, just your imagination. If the party was just talking to people at a ranger station, the Officers Club, because that's where all the rangers are, at the Officers Club in Yellowstone National Park. And they had detained Forrest longer because Forrest just showed up to say, hey, he's renting something, what have you. You know? He's going to his cabin. And I think this would go more towards Justin and Cynthia's Sunlight Basin. And there's that cabin that Cynthia's going to rent this summer. You know, what if you just have to show up at the ranger station to get your key or whatever, and it's quote unquote the Officers Club, you're having a party there, and then you get detained longer than you would like, and his body was already tired. I think that's a stretch, but I'm just trying to look at everything. I'm trying to be as imaginative and as logical, which seem to be opposite forces, but, to each their own. Page 106. The scene depicted a man standing on a wooden bridge holding a smoking pistol, with a dead dog at his feet bleeding all over the boards. Wow, what a great sentence. It just brings, everyone's optimism and hope just soaring up in a tough time. What a terrible painting. How like terrible, you know what I mean? Gosh. The scene depicted a man standing on a wooden bridge, so that's why I picked it, because it's got a wooden bridge in it. It's a wooden bridge. Maybe there's a wooden bridge. And then I thought, smoking pistol. What if that's a smoking gun? There's a wooden bridge. And he's subtly saying, the wooden bridge, back there, a few words behind, is the smoking gun. But instead of using smoking gun, he just says pistol. Don't ask me why he would say with a dead dog at his feet, bleeding all over the boards. It's terrible. Just terrible. I don't want that painting, by the way. I wouldn't pay you $1 for that. That's too depressing for me. Now, if it showed a smoking pistol and a dead cat, I'd be all over it. I'm kidding for all you cat ladies out there that watch my videos. I'm kidding. That was a joke. I know it was tasteless. I know. That's why I'm the house husband. You don't become a house husband just because you're very tasteful, you know what I mean? But that's a tasteless painting anyway, so regardless of whether it's a dead dog or a dead cat. It's tasteless. It should have just been a possum or something that nobody really cares about. You know what I mean? All right, page 109. Let's get this going. We got a couple more quotes and we'll be done. And we'll be out of here in less than 20 minutes. 109, Teachers with Ropes. He says, one afternoon, I walked into the Kachina Gallery on Canyon Road. That's it. Kachina Gallery on Canyon Road. So there's multiple mentions of Canyon Street, Canyon Road, Red Canyon, and then the waters went through with vertical sides. It's just interesting, right? So then we go to our favorite page in the entire book, page 132. Everybody knows what page that is, right? And there are 4 mentions, right? These 4 words in the poem. And they are, and take it in the canyon down. There'll be no paddle up your creek. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. If you are brave and in the wood. That's where I'm getting all this from. And then the last quote, page 141. Ode to Peggy Jean. He says, they nursed my weakened confidence all along the mucky trail that I thought was disappearing into the black abyss of medical odds. His weakened, no place for the meek. I've done it tired and now I'm weak. They nursed my weakened competence. He has no competence, like in important literature, Holden Caulfield. All along the mucky trail. We're out on a trail. Is it a mucky trail? That I thought was disappearing into the black abyss, into the canyon down. Have y'all seen all of that in that one sentence? You're lying. I wish you weren't a liar. Come on. Have you seen that many thoughts in that one sentence? Whew. I don't know how you guys are when you watch these videos, but I know that every time I start to research and I start to do these videos and I put together this stuff, I think I'm done. I don't have enough. And sometimes I hesitate to hit the record button because I just think, I just don't have anything worthwhile to share. And y'all are going to totally crush me. And good gracious. It never ends. It's unbelievable how many words and sentences when you're looking for these subtle hints, just how much stands out. It's just very different than anything I've ever done in my life. So with that said, let me know in the comments what you think. If you feel the same way, if you've seen a lot of this, if you haven't seen a lot of it, if you think a lot of what I'm pulling out is just trash, if you think, a lot of it's good, if you think some of it's good, you can like my video if you want to. You don't have to. If you would, subscribe. I really appreciate that. I know I get a fair amount of views now, and a number of you aren't subscribed. I don't know if you make it this far into the video if you're not subscribed. But yeah, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And thanks so much for watching this episode of the House Husband Diaries. Until the next episode, I hope you all have a wonderful day.